This is my full tree stand self-filming setup. I use this setup to film all my personal hunts for the Bow Only YouTube channel, as well as my career job in filming hunts for TV. I just got done putting up this full hang and hunt tree stand setup. If you're interested in how I do that, there's a video linked in the description. All right, so now that I'm up in the tree, it's time to get all my camera gear set up. I usually run either 4 or 5 cameras. I've got a Canon R6 with a 24 to 240 millimeter lens. I have a Canon R6 with a 16 to 35 millimeter lens. I have 2 GoPro 11s that I use and a GoPro 9 that I use. So depending on the situation in the tree, 5 cameras can be a lot and can be way too many. And sometimes I can't even find a good place to put that many. So I usually run at least 3, preferably 4, and then once in a while I can get away with 5. I've got a remote for the GoPros, which is super handy, so I can turn all the GoPros on at once. It just kind of depends on the situation on the tree and where I'm set up, if I can get away with enough movement to turn the 2 main cameras and the GoPros on or not. So this is a pretty standard setup for me. I've got my tree stand, my pack on this side, and then my bow hanging up higher on this side. This is a Sitka cargo box pack. It's great because it has 2 wings on it and a lot of different pockets inside for all the different cameras. Keep my GoPros in there, batteries, camera arm right here on the side. It also has some pouches up here on the top where I can keep batteries, and it seems to work well. There's a lot of good packs out there. This is just the one I've been using the past 2 seasons, and it's worked out phenomenal for me. So the first thing I'm gonna get set up as soon as I get in the tree is my main camera arm. That starts with the bracket. Over here on this wing is where I keep it. Put the first part of the bracket in with the strap. This is a 4th Arrow camera arm. I've got the 3.0 shoulder mount and a stiff arm. And I usually put it right around waist height, somewhere in there, because once I get the camera arm on and the camera on top of that fluid head, it's gonna be quite a bit higher than that. So my waist is about right in here. If I can put it right about there, it's gonna end up about close to like lower chest level, where the lens is actually gonna sit. So that's about right if I can get away with that. This tree is great because it's nice and even, nice and straight, not a ton of limbs coming out. So I can put it right here. I generally put it on my left side. When I'm sitting here, I've got my bow on the left side as well as my camera. So I can take my right hand and maneuver like that. And then if there's a deer on the back side, I can maneuver it around this way, turn around this way, film right here, and still be able to shoot. Again, different trees can work different ways. Sometimes I'll have it on my right side as well. It just kind of depends. So let's get this bracket around here. Like I said, it's the 4th Arrow, and there is a ratchet strap on it, which is a little bit unfortunate because of how loud it is, but it's pretty much the only way to get a really secure setup on a heavy camera and camera arm setup like I'm running. Right about there looks pretty solid. I want to make sure that the ratchet isn't right here in the middle, because I don't want my back hitting that, so that's offside a little bit. There's a couple things that I do to make it quieter. If I have gloves on, I can really cover it with my glove and go super slow, or I can cover it with a beanie and just try to minimize that noise as much as possible. And I honestly really haven't had any issues with it. I don't think I've ever spooked a deer that I'm aware of using a ratchet strap up here. Just got to be really careful with it. Get that nice and tight so that's not going anywhere. Yeah, perfect. Another thing to note is we do have Bow Only Outdoors merchandise that you can find at our website, bowonlyoutdoors.com. Click on the store tab, or you can go to bowonlymerch.com. Now that that's super solid, it's very important to get this really solid, because once the camera is out here 2-3 feet, if it's not solid, you can have some issues going back and forth, or a lot of times it'll dip forward a little bit and cause some shaky footage. So that's super solid. Now I'll reach back into the same pocket and grab the shoulder mount. Again, this is the 3.0 from 4th Arrow. It's just one I found that works really well, and it's super simple. Just pop it in there. There's a little tab down here. Flip that sideways to tighten it down. And over here I've got just a knob that I can turn. You can see there's a bubble level there. So when I'm working this level, is I don't put it perfectly level such as that. I actually put it a little bit higher because of the camera weight on there will actually level it out once that camera's on the arm. I keep my camera arm and my fluid head here on this wing super easily accessible. I've already got the Manfrotto fluid head attached, and I can just go ahead, pop it right in there. Again, this is the stiff arm, pretty solid. I actually do like it a lot. And then I said this is the Manfrotto fluid head, and I also love this thing. I don't have the arm on it because I like the flexibility of not having to get out of the way of that arm, manipulate the camera with the actual camera body itself. Depending on each particular hunt, sometimes I will bring my entire camera bag for my main camera. That way I have all the batteries and accessories and everything. But also sometimes I'll just put some wool socks and some beanies and maybe some thick gloves in my backpack to separate the different cameras so they're a little bit more protected. All right, like I said, Canon R6 with the 24 to 240. This is my main lens, works awesome. It has enough zoom where I can reach out there a little bit further, but at the same time 24 so I can film all my interviews and all my face-to-face interaction and everything like that. So I really love this lens. Been using it almost 3 years now, and it is awesome. Pretty cheap lens from camera for the most part too. Nice RF lens. And then also I got the Rode shotgun mic. I think this is like the Video Mic NTG, I believe is what it's called. And then I also have the Rode Wireless Go 2 system for the lav mic, which is awesome. If you're filming your hunts and you don't have a lav mic, that's probably the biggest thing I would recommend. We're back in the stand and I am super excited. Really good audio, bumps up the quality of videos so much.
We killed the biggest body buck on the farm.
And using a lav mic over the past 2 years has just changed the way I film, and it's really been super awesome.
I can't believe that just happened.
And so it is a couple $100, but getting that lav mic and getting some adapters so you can use the lav and the shotgun is one of the biggest things I would recommend for people bumping up their quality of videos. Like I said before, I put this bubble a little bit higher because of the extra camera weight out here. Now it levels off and you can tell it's not moving at all wherever I put it. Staying stationary, which is super important, especially when you're filming a deer and want to shoot it, camera's not moving on you. And then I'll grab my second camera arm. So I do have a couple different ones. The first one is this right here. This thing is awesome. If I do have a limb, it looks like I've actually got a perfect limb right here. I can pop that on there, make it, yeah, that looks about perfect right there. That thing's pretty nice for my second R6. I can kind of move it wherever I need to. I like the over the shoulder shot with that 16mm lens. That'll work out about perfect right there. But I also do have another one if I don't have a limb available. I've just got this super simple little mount here I can screw into a tree, and if I don't have a limb, that'll be nice and handy for putting that other R6 on. But I'm going to use this one for this tree. All right, that looks perfect right there. You can see the angle of me over here. If I'm shooting back behind, it's going to be a perfect over the shoulder setup. I really like having that. GoPros are nice, but having a full body camera up there is really clutch. Moving on, like I said, multiple GoPros. This mount is awesome. I use this all the time. Can kind of put it wherever I need. I mean, that's pretty much perfect right there. It gives me a good angle. If I do have some limbs like out in front of me on one side or another, I like to do that where I can reach out as far as possible and get them a little bit further away, kind of get the full view of my whole setup, my tree and everything. Put it up there a little bit higher so it's filming down on me. So the next one I have on the same mount, and I can pretty much do the exact same thing with that wherever I need. If there's like a limb over here, I'll put it up there, or sometimes I can put it right on my bow hanger right there, or even occasionally I'll pop it right here. It does move, of course, whenever I move the camera arm. Got to make sure it doesn't hit my bow, but that's actually kind of a cool view too, a little bit closer if I don't have another option. Now the last GoPro to set up is the one I'm filming with right now, and I do have a screw-in mount just like this. I can use this one to screw the GoPro on, or that other one I showed you with the R6, I can use that as well if I'm not using that. Gives me a couple different options. I can pop that in wherever I need to. If I've got another tree over here, pop it over there, or even up high if I need to, just kind of wherever I want. I've got my main camera, second angle, third angle, fourth angle. I mean, I pretty much got it all covered. There's not a lot of extra limbs where I can put anything else unless I was getting really creative and wanted to climb that tree and put a GoPro out there. which I have done before with the use of the remote. This has been working phenomenal for me, and like I said, I do have a GoPro remote, which I seem to forgot today, but I usually keep that right here on my arm. It's got just a Velcro strap I can put right here or back here, somewhere like that where it's easily accessible. So if I'm running the camera, I can just pop over and turn it on, and that way the GoPros are all running, and then I just have to reach up, and I usually have this one on, just hit record, and that one's going. So pretty simple, and it's been working phenomenal for me. I've been using this setup for probably 2 years now, 2 fall seasons. I've struggled a lot along the way, I'll just say that, but this system seems to be pretty streamlined and working out amazing for me. I do have my bow above the camera arm, which is super important. That way when the deer comes, I can just grab it like that. Sometimes I do have to kind of swing it over top of the camera, which adds some extra movement, and something I definitely have to keep in mind whenever I'm hunting. But if I can kind of move back a little bit like that and more just pull it straight back toward me, that seems to work well. As soon as I see a deer, I need to get everything ready to go as fast as possible before they get too close so they won't see me, especially like during the rut. If I see a doe or something like that, she is acting a little suspicious, like there might be a buck behind her, I need to get everything ready as fast as possible. That way by the time the buck or whatever the target animal is gets in range, then I'm not messing around with having to turn cameras on and move around a whole lot, and I'm ready to go and shoot. That's my tree stand self-filming setup. I've been filming hunts now for over 10 years, and I absolutely love it. I love getting to show friends and family all the awesome adventures that I get to experience out here in creation. And I hope that you found this video helpful, and I hope that you have a chance to film your own hunts in the future and relive some of those memories down the road. Like this video if it helped you, and thank you so much for watching.